If your ebook is over 50 pages, then you've already lost. I'm sorry, but you have already lost. Like, listen, most beginners don't struggle because they lack ideas. They struggle because they overbuild. And I've seen it time and time again. They write more, they add more, they delay more, and then they never even launch. Like, I've got let's fix that, by the way. But I've got a friend, right? He writ men, he was writ. He had a Facebook group and he was ready to launch. Okay, and instead of just launching, I said to him, just test it. Put a small version of the book out, 5 to 10 pages. He was like, no, 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 I need to do 30, 40. He ended up building this thing to 120 pages. Right? He launched, and then no one bought it. I think he got like 3 sales. And I thought to myself, because I'm not the type to go back and say I told you so, but I did think to myself, you wasted all that time trying to build the perfect product instead of launching soft, getting feedback on what people wanted, and then at least building it out to that many pages once you know what people want. But he was creating something that he wanted as opposed to what other people wanted, because you don't know what other people want until you launch and you get feedback, and then they can tell you, I loved it, but I also didn't, I also wanted to know XYZ, or I kind of liked it, but it would have been good if there was XYZ in it too. Then you can go back and launch, right? So let's get into a quick context before we carry on. My name's Warren. I've sold over 10,000 digital products online. And what I do now is I help everyday people just build simple digital assets using simple funnels and simple Facebook ads. Not because I'm chasing hype, but because, when I'm dead and buried, I just want my 2 beautiful kids to know that their dad helped, built things properly, and did it the right way. That's it. So let's jump into the meat. So why do beginners tend to overbuild ebooks? I think people don't overbuild because they're ambitious. I think they overbuild because they're uncomfortable, right? A couple of the reasons are fear. What if it's not good enough? Procrastination. Adding pages feels like it's progress, so you're just procrastinating. Perfection is one, like hiding behind polish instead of just launching. You know, but ultimately, a long ebook is gonna give a full sense of safety. But my friend, safety doesn't sell. And I've sold over 10,000 digital products online. And I wouldn't have sold any if I was trying to play it safe. It's almost like selling digital products online. It has to look messy. It's like the messier it is, the more you sell. Because a customer comes up, they see your messy landing page, they see somewhat of a messy ebook, and they think, this isn't mainstream. This ebook is a behind the scenes ebook. Like, it's not mainstream. Not everyone's got access to this ebook. So I'm going to be learning something that not a lot of people have access to. So I'm going to have an edge over others. People want that hidden, those hidden secrets, that source. People don't want to know people don't want the same knowledge that everyone else has. They want that niche, that different, that behind the scenes, that exclusiveness. And the reframe is ebooks are tools. Ebook are tools. Let's say it again. Ebooks are tools. And this is the mindset shift. An ebook is not literature. It's not a novel. It's not a thesis. An ebook is just a tool. Let's say it again. An ebook is just a tool. And tools are judged on one thing. Let's be honest. Tools are judged on, did it help me fix the problem? Nobody buys a drill because it's beautiful. They buy it because it makes a hole in their wall. And if it doesn't make a hole in the wall, then it's useless. It didn't work. Same with ebooks. Okay? So this is the correct structure. Copy this. Get a pen, paper, notepad, whatever. Every ebook I've ever sold followed this structure. Number one problem. Be specific. It has to solve one problem, not how to be successful, because everyone's version of success is different. There's so many factors that go into play, so forget that. It needs to be more how to launch your first $7 digital product. Not how to be successful, but how to launch your first $7 digital product. Clarity beats ambition every time. The clearer you can be, the more your audience is going to see your offer and go, he's talking to me. And that's what you want them to say. He's talking to me. He's made this for me. He's made this for people like me. How to be successful? What does that mean? Successful at what? Being rich, being wealthy, being healthy, having loads of relationships? It's vague. I can't look at that and go, he's talking to me. But if I want to launch a digital product and I'm struggling to launch a digital product and I see an offer someone's making to me saying how to launch your first $7 digital product, I'm going to be like, wow, that matches perfect to what I'm trying to do right now. And I run and get my wallet and I pay it because I believe that is the solution to what I need right now. It's going to give me clarity on how to launch. Okay, so that's number one. Solve one problem and be specific. Number two is one promise. So what is going to change after they use it? For example, you'll know exactly what to build, how to sell it, and how to test it. That's an example. You can say to someone, you'll know exactly what to build, how to sell it, and how to test it. That is what they're going to learn after reading your ebook. Okay? After downloading your digital asset. One outcome, no extras. Specific. Number three is one framework, right? This is the core value. This is like a checklist, a process, a repeatable method, something that they can actually use. Now, one of my frameworks is the CTA method. If you're familiar with my work, you'll know about my CTA method. Now, that is a framework. That is a core value. It's a process. It's something that works if they keep doing it over and over again. It's not a story. It's not fluff. You don't want to sell stories in your ebook. It needs to be some kind of thing, system that they can keep repeatedly following. You're exposing them to a system. I'm trying to think of a different word to system, just in case you don't understand what I mean by system. It's like if you're trying to teach your 6-year-old child to make a cup of tea, there's a process that you're going to say. You're going to say, look, to make a delicious cup of tea, you need to switch on the kettle first. Then you need to get your cup second. Then you need to put the tea bag in there third. Then you pour the hot water fourth. Then you put the sugar in there sixth. Then you put the milk seven, right? That is the steps to make a delicious cup of tea. And as a 6-year-old, you're going to go, wow, I can follow that. Like, I can remember that. Number one, I boil the kettle. Number two, I get the cup. Number three, I put it's a system. It's a framework that every time they follow, they can get the same delicious cup of tea. And that is is essentially what I'm trying to say here. It's providing some kind of system or some kind of something that someone can follow. So they're going to leave that ebook going, okay, and an important thing to remember is just because your ideas don't have to be new. There could be someone else already out there teaching this same system. Like if I use the example of a hot tea, there could be other people out there teaching how to make a hot tea. And the reader might already know how to make a delicious hot tea, but I have to sell the ebook in a way that says my way is slightly different to their way. And then not only do I teach them a slightly different method, it could be even if I teach them the same method, I'm going to teach them why this works. Whereas someone else might have not taught them why it works. They might just taught them the framework, if that makes sense, right? But now, because they have the framework and why it works, it builds their belief stronger. So now they've got more conviction and they're more convinced as to why that is a delicious cup of coffee or why that is do you get what I'm saying? You have to, sometimes we need to build our beliefs just as much as the frameworks. Like the how is important, but the why sometimes is also important as well. Okay, in life, we have to build our hows, which is our strategy, and our whys, which is our beliefs. Because strategy without belief just means that you're never going to implement it because you don't really believe it's going to work. And having a why, like having belief without strategy is useless as well, because it's all good believing you can do it, but if you don't know how to do it, how are you ever going to get it done? Like I can go in the gym and believe that I can lift 150 kg on bench press. But if I don't have the right strategy and the right form and the right technique, then I won't be able to do it. It doesn't matter how much belief I got. So you really need belief and strategy mixed together, right? Let's move on. So Section 4 of this is why short assets convert better. Short assets work because they're easier to understand. They're easier to, they feel achievable to sell small little PDFs, digital assets like that I call them. They respect attention, right? So when someone sees a 12-page guide, they think, wow, I could do this tonight. When they see, a 100-page ebook, they think, I'll come back to this. I don't have the time in my life to go through a 100-page ebook at the minute. I've got work on my case. I've got my manager up my arse. I've got the kids screaming bouncing off the walls. I don't have time for a 100-page book, but I've got time for a 12-page book. I've got time for a 5-page book. And I think that's the error in people's thinking when they go to sell digital products. They think it has to be a lot of pages, otherwise people will think that it's not enough. But no, people actually want less, and you solve their problem. If you could solve their problem in a shorter amount of time, that's money, So when when they see the 100-page ebook, they're gonna think, I can come back to this, and guess what? They never do, because no one is ever gonna be or want a 100-page ebook. If you're trying to solve someone's problem and it takes you 100 pages to do it, chances are, there ain't no solution in that book. Let's be real. Next, section 5 is the real world example I want to talk to you about. So I've seen this over and over again as well. A tight 10-page checklist outsells a 120-page ebook. Like I said, because the promises is clearer, the results is going to be faster, right? The buyer is going to feel more confident. People don't want more information; they want less confusion. And the real takeaway ultimately is, and a rule to remember, is clarity beats volume. Okay, speed beats perfection. Useful beats impressive. So if your ebook feels heavy, I know it's unclear. If it's too long, I know it's unclear. So stop writing more, start saying less, and just have one problem, one promise, one framework. And that's how ebooks actually sell. Like, you can use ChatGPT to write your ebooks, which is what I do, but you can also use PLR, right? PLR stands for private label resale, where someone else has already written the book and you can buy the book, you can create a new cover for it, and you can sell the contents of that book as your own because you've bought the licensing rights for it. So if you're not a writer, that's fine. I'm not a writer. I'm a marketer. I am a creative, but I'm not necessarily a writer. I don't necessarily enjoy the writing process. So why not utilize someone else's skills, put my own spin on it, and package it as mine? That's something that you can do as well. If you're interested in learning more about PLR, drop a comment or let me know, and I'll get a video on it. But ultimately, that's it, guys. It's your boy Warren, teaching you how to build simple funnels that produce simple assets that produce real results, right? Catch you in the next video. Peace.